Hey everyone, What If Fan here, bringing you another exciting part of What If Fusion Deck User in a different Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. You can find the fanfic title and the original author's name on my Patreon page. Make sure to check it out and show them some love. If you enjoy the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you never miss an upload. Also check out my Patreon channel for early releases of all the series, where you can find all the series released one day ahead of YouTube. Alright, let's jump into it. Chapter 151, He Who Commands Thunder. Compared to the 100 Dragon that still required careful deliberation, Kojakujaku was much more straightforward. My turn, draw. I activate the spell card, Dark Hole. Atticus hadn't expected such an aggressive play from this winged beast warrior, but if you do that, your own monsters will be destroyed too. It doesn't matter. Kojakujaku gently pecked at its feathers with its beak. The next moment, a giant black sphere appeared over Thunder Dragon Lord, absorbing the two different black dragons and then vanishing into the air. Ah! Why would you destroy your own monsters too? So sad. Some of the younger spirits couldn't accept this kind of play. That said, for them, this duel really was quite meaningful. I activate the effect of Black Dragon Collapserpent. What? Atticus was taken aback when Kojakujaku activated a graveyard effect. The currently popular standard tag duel in the spirit world was the version most duelists had grown accustomed to. Unlike the human world's tag duels, this one had gained traction due to being more refined. Under this rule, a tag duel wasn't so much 2v2 as it was a relayed duel. Despite being 4 players, each duo only had access to a single field, 5 monster zones, 5 spell/trap zones, 1 graveyard, and 1 banished zone. During any turn that isn't yours or your team's next turn, in other words, the opponent's turn, your deck is treated as non-existent. Under these conditions, effects that search the deck upon being sent to the graveyard cannot activate. For that reason, Atticus had chosen to go straight for life points rather than destroy monsters. Yet now, Kojakujaku was checking its own deck. I add Eclipse Wyvern from my deck to my hand. It showed the card briefly, then added it to its hand. Eclipse Wyvern? Don't tell me its effect searches for a dark dragon? If that's the case, then your decks have a total of 6 identical cards. Normally, a deck can only contain up to 3 copies of the same card. But in tag duels, that's a different story. 100 Dragon and Kojakujaku's decks might even be similar. We are warriors who protect the mountain. To better defend it, our decks naturally share more connections. Kojakujaku said casually. Next, I normal summon Harpie Channeler. HM. Along with Kojakujaku's action, a cute girl with a stylish circular hairstyle, black feathered arms, and bird-like claws on her hands and feet flew in from the sky. Harpie Channeler, Level 4 WAND Winged Beast 1400 ATK. Harpie Channeler? Seeing this adorable monster appear, Atticus instinctively snapped a photo, then muttered to himself, I should have Alexis cosplay her. What is this human thinking? Tiara clenched her fist and lightly knocked on her forehead. Don't worry, Winda. Harpie Lady is a very classic card, it was even covered in school, so there shouldn't be a problem. Hikaru was sort of envious of his confidence. If that Harpie Channeler goes into a synchro summon, what then? Thankfully, Kojakujaku's next move wasn't what Hikaru expected. I activate Harpie Channeler's effect. Discard 1 Harpie card to activate it. Special summon 1 Harpie monster from the deck in defense position, except Harpie Channeler. Discarding Harpie Lady Sisters, it special summoned Harpie Dancer. Responding to the summon, the silver-feathered winged beast who had just finished tending to the young spirits flapped her wings and scattered white feathers. In the breeze and among the falling feathers, she performed a soft, elegant dance as she stepped on the field. Harpie Dancer, Level 4 WAND Winged Beast 1000 Def. So pretty. Atticus took another picture. The real beauty's just beginning, human. Kojakujaku seemed like a hot-blooded duelist. Seeing Atticus act without a shred of warrior's pride only made its anger spike. I activate this card in my hand. By banishing a dark and a wind monster from my graveyard, I can special summon it. Boom, boom, boom. A violent windstorm engulfed the field. The gales were so intense that they sent nearby spirits flying, forcing many adult spirits to cling to them for safety. A massive divine black bird, wreathed in luminous rings, slowly descended. I banish Black Dragon and Harpie Lady to special summon Dark Simorgh. Dark Simorgh, level 7 DARK Winged Beast 2700 ATK. Battle. Dark Simorgh, direct attack. The feathers behind Kujakujaku all stood on end like blades, aimed straight at Atticus. A flurry of black feathers rained down, leaving Atticus, who usually took great pride in his appearance, especially disheveled. Duel Academy students, LP, 5300. I'm not done yet. Harpie Channeler, attack directly. Wait. I activate the trap card, Red Ice Spirit. Just as Harpie Channeler raised her staff to bonk him, Atticus hastily flipped his set card. This lets me revive a Red Ice monster from my graveyard. I special summon in attack position Red Ice Black Dragon. Roar. The Black Dragon returned. Red Ice Black Dragon, level 7 DARK Dragon 2400 ATK. Heh, a dying struggle. I set one card and end my turn. Phew, survived that one. Atticus exhaled and muttered, sorry, Hikaru, I messed things up for you. While he said that, he glanced at Dark Simorgh. Dark Simorgh's effect prevents the opponent from setting cards as long as it remains on the field. Not only did I fail to preserve a good board state for you, I even left you facing a lockdown monster. He scratched his head and gave an awkward laugh. It's okay, Senpai. I can still handle it. To be frank, no offense, but Atticus was the certified lose legend of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. Hikaru never expected him to set up a favorable board state. Besides, he was in the 4th position, the support seat in tag duels. For Atticus to leave a trap and a monster was already pretty generous. 100 Dragon was just SOSO. If you can't take out your opponents in a tag duel, then you just have to go for endurance and support. He drew a card. Suddenly, Hikaru noticed quite a few spirits had gathered around them. Most remained silent, simply observing with curiosity, while their presence still made Hikaru slightly uneasy. Tiara, however, didn't stop them. Just then, Hikaru heard a zapping sound and instinctively tilted his head slightly. A golden, sparking little ball drifted past in front of him. The next instant, aha! You're totally gonna lose, huh? A high-pitched, childish voice reached him. That thunderball can talk? Ah, it's not a ball. Hey, Koyuin, don't interrupt a warrior's concentration, that's extremely disrespectful. A spirit came to grab it. But it's true. His hand is all whatever, he's definitely gonna lose. Thunder Dragon Lord gently lowered its head, a flash of electricity capturing the mischievous ball and pulling it aside. It then sincerely apologized to Hikaru. Apologies, warrior of the humans. That was Koyuin, a spirit of our Thunder tribe. He's usually very curious and didn't mean any harm. We didn't expect him to peek at your hand. And that's when Hikaru realized its identity. Thunder Dragon Matrix. No problem. Even if he says it, I don't mind, Hikaru said with a grin, completely unfazed. That's right. Every card in my hand right now is a spell card. What? Wah? Ha? A chorus of shocked squeals erupted from the young spirits. Even some of the adult watchers looked baffled. Really? If his whole hand is spells, how's he supposed to win? Then let me introduce myself again. Spirits of this realm. Hikaru took a deep breath and shouted to the sky. Simultaneously, the ever-resourceful Atticus somehow pulled out a spotlight and shone it directly on Hikaru. The vibe was immaculate. I am a duelist who seeks the ultimate in fusion. I extend an invitation to all spirits here. If any of you desire fusion, and wish to walk that path, then come. Come unhesitatingly. For now, I shall demonstrate the all-fusion duel. What, so cool! The young spirits, never having seen such a hero-like entrance, were completely swept away by the energy. They didn't even care anymore that Hikaru's tag partner played a burn strategy. Ria. ZZZT. ZZZT. That golden thunderball began sparking wildly again. In its center, a serpentine dragon shadow writhed with excitement, its voice trembling with eagerness. Now, first card. Chapter 152, 2 Integrated. First card, spell card, Overload Future Fusion. Hikaru revealed a continuous spell card. This card lets me reveal a fusion monster from the extra deck and send its fusion materials to the graveyard. I reveal Meteor Black Dragon. Meteor Black Dragon? Atticus looked at the card and immediately laughed. Didn't expect that from you, Hikaru. You had this card just to match mine, didn't you? Hikaru nodded. On the other side, 100 Dragon lowered its head and whispered to its partner, asking why they didn't activate a trap. The furious Kujakujako snapped that they had to wait until the fusion monster appeared to deliver a real blow. The fusion materials are Red Ice Black Dragon and Meteor Dragon. I send Meteor Dragon from the deck to the graveyard. Hikaru moved fluidly to his second card. Next card, Equip Spell Future Fusion. This card allows me to select a fusion monster in my extra deck, send all required materials to the graveyard, and perform a fusion summon. That fusion monster can't attack on the turn it is summoned. Hikaru opened his extra deck and revealed a monster. I choose Fusion Monster, Gem Knight Prismora. Fusion materials are a Gem Knight monster and a Thunder monster. I send Gem Knight Crystal and Thunder Dragon from my deck to the graveyard to fusion summon. Gem Knight Prismora. Gem Knight Prismora? Seeing the monster, Atticus, who was lighting the scene for Hikaru, paused for a moment. If it were Future Fusion, it should have been possible to directly summon Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem. Why go for a Gem Knight here? Wouldn't it make more sense to use Brilliant Fusion or Scatter Fusion, which are easier to access, and save Future Fusion for something rarer? Gem Knight Prismora, Level 7 Earth Thunder 2450 ATK. Whoa! Thunder Dragon is one of the fusion materials. A young voice echoed nearby. So that was it. Atticus couldn't help but chuckle. He hadn't expected Hikaru to outshine him in this instance since he was supposed to be the more dazzling one. Prismora can discard a Gem Knight card to destroy a face-up card on the field. You plan to destroy Dark Simorgh with that effect? Kujakujako raised its head. Naive. We are warriors who guard the mountain. Of course, we recognize that card. Activate trap card, Icarus Attack. I tribute one winged beast monster, target 2 cards on the field. Destroy them. Icarus Attack. Even before Hikaru had crossed over, this card occasionally appeared in Raid Raptors or Blackwing decks, an old but reliable pick. I tribute Harpie Channeler and destroy your Future Fusion and your set card. Then I chain my trap card. Hikaru countered promptly. Senpai, I'll borrow your card. Go for it. Atticus laughed. I activate the continuous trap card, Return of the Red Ice. When I control a Red Ice monster, I can target a normal monster in my graveyard and special summon it. Come, Meteor Dragon. A red-eyed, turtle-shaped red dragon descended like a meteor from the sky. But destruction continues. Kujakujaku shouted, pointing a feather like a sword at Hikaru. In the next moment, Harpie Channeler turned into enormous wings, stabbing like blades into Hikaru's field. The trap card that had just activated was shattered, and Future Fusion was also destroyed. Since Future Fusion was destroyed, your fusion monster is sent to the graveyard too. Crack! Gem Knight Prismora shattered in response. Ah, our hard-earned fusion monster is gone in an instant. Big brother Kujakujaku seemed super angry today. Kujakujaku held its head high and coldly declared, to trespass into the mountain without permission and then boast about showing children a duel. Once you lose, I'll throw you into the gorge to face the wind for a whole day. The angered preschool teacher type. Atticus chuckled awkwardly. Then he smiled and said, we'll see who's boasting soon. Spirit, don't forget, my Kohai still has 4 cards left in his hand. 4 cards? Are they more fusion spells? Of course they are. Hikaru shouted, activate spell card, Fusion Substitute. This card is treated as polymerization and can only use monsters on the field as fusion materials. What? Kojaku 100 Dragon exclaimed. In this situation, oh, I see. Atticus watched Hikaru's moves and roughly understood his plan. Since Hikaru had already seen that his set card was Return of the Red Ice, he made both fusion attempts using normal monsters, baiting out the opponent's trap card with Prism Aura. Even though they were all fusion summons, Hikaru's mind remained sharp and calculated. I fuse Red Ice Black Dragon and Meteor Dragon from the field to fusion summon the Black Dragon that symbolizes potential. A legendary monster. Meteor Black Dragon. Blazing flames surged through the battlefield. A massive black dragon flowing with magma crashed down from the sky like a fireball, landing on the mountainside and sending the older spirits scrambling to shield the young ones. Meteor Black Dragon, Level 8 FIRA Dragon 3500 ATK. Whoa! 3 cards, 2 fusion summons. Totally different from how the big kids usually show fusions. Hearing the cheers around him, Hikaru smiled and raised another card. We're not done yet. Kids. I activate the effect of Fusion Substitute in the graveyard. I banish it to return a fusion monster from the graveyard to the extra deck and draw 1 card. I return Gem Knight Prism Aura to the extra deck and draw a card. Then, spell card, Thunder Dragon Fusion. Thunder Dragon Fusion? Wah! Whoa. Even Thunder Dragon Lord glanced over, surprised. This card lets me return fusion materials listed on a Thunder Fusion monster from my field, graveyard, or banished zone back to the deck, and fusion summon it. Fusion materials are still a Gem Knight monster and a Thunder monster. I return Gem Knight Crystal and Thunder Dragon from the graveyard to the deck to fusion summon. Come forth again, Gem Knight Prism Aura. Captain Crystal, revived from the grave, stood once more before Hikaru. The cycle of death and rebirth stirred dark memories in Tierra, who shuddered involuntarily. Whoa! That's some serious fusion going on. He even revived his fusion monster. Little balls of lightning circled around Hikaru and fell into rare silence. I discard Gem Knight Fusion from my hand to activate Prismora's effect. Destroy your face-up Dark Simorgh. Prism Aura raised its shield, refracting light that bathed the dark avian monster. Within quick flashes, the large bird was purified and vanished from the field. 100 Dragon clutched its snout in awe. Such a powerful fusion user. Even Kojaku fell silent, offering no response, clearly deep in thought about Hikaru. Yet, when it turned to look at Atticus, the same vicious expression wore on its face. Chapter 153, Know Your Heart, Know Your Ally. Battle. Hikaru adjusted his hand. Gem Knight Prism Aura, attack Harpie Dancer. Then, Meteor Black Dragon, direct attack. Guardian of the Mountain, LP, 5600-2100. That was a huge hit. So cool. Come on, big brother Kojaku. Kojaku emerged from the veil of blocking feathers, staring down at Hikaru. What a remarkable duelist. Since Dark Simorgh has left the field, we can set cards again. Hikaru glanced at his hand. I set 2 cards. Although he had said earlier that his hand was full of spells, he'd drawn 1 more card, so neither Kojaku nor 100 Dragon could be sure what had just been set. That ends my turn. A splendid duel, warrior of humanity, 100 Dragon said, cradling his claws and nodding repeatedly. Everything you've used was fusion, wasn't it? In all my 100 years of life, I have never encountered such a unique duelist. But alas, as a guardian of the mountain, I cannot hold back. My turn, draw. He drew a card with his dragon claw. First, I activate the effect of Dark Simorgh in the graveyard. If it's in the graveyard, I can banish 1 wind and 1 dark monster from my hand to special summon it. I banish Baby Dragon and Dark Flare Dragon from my hand. Rise again, Dark Simorgh. A gale howled as the fallen divine bird returned to life. A bird that can endlessly revive as long as wind and dark exist. Normally, it's just something you'd see in textbooks. Atticus shielded his face from the wind, speaking casually. Next, spell card, Monster Reincarnation. I discard Divine Dragon Lord Felgrand from my hand and add Harpie Channeler from the graveyard back to my hand. 100 Dragon tossed a monster from his hand and retrieved Harpie Channeler. Discarding a higher level monster to get a lower level one? Is he short on tributes? Atticus mused. No, he probably has something like Monster Reborn, Hikaru explained. Divine Dragon Lord Felgrand has a special effect when revived from the graveyard. Ah, I see. Atticus nodded. I activate the facedown card, Call of the Haunted. 100 Dragon flipped the card he had set on turn 1. Kujakujaku knew exactly why it had been set then, and why it hadn't been triggered earlier despite the risk to LP. This card revives a monster from the graveyard. I revive Divine Dragon Lord Felgrand. A single golden scale fell from the sky. This card was entrusted to me by Lord Felgrand, the guardian of the dragon tribe. Witness his power. Each of the 3 tribes had a rotating guardian, and when they weren't present themselves, they entrusted a card rich with their power to their most trusted warrior. For the dragons, that was the 100 Dragon. Likewise, Kojakojaku was clearly the most trusted among the winged beasts. They might not be the strongest, but they were the most devoted warriors to protecting the children. ZZZZZT. Golden light flashed. Centered on the scale, light formed into a giant dragon, with cosmic wings of pitch black, adorned with stars. Divine Dragon Lord Felgrand, Level 8 Light Dragon 2800 ATK. When Divine Dragon Lord Felgrand is special summoned from the graveyard, I can target one monster in your field or graveyard and banish it. Then, Felgrand gains ATK and def equal to that monster's level or rank X100. What? Even XYZ monsters? Atticus was startled by the effect. Banish Meteor Black Dragon. Not a chance. I activate my facedown quick play spell, Diffusion. Hikaru reacted immediately. Return a fusion monster on the field to the extra deck and special summon its materials from the graveyard. Meteor Black Dragon's body twisted, then separated into 2 monsters. Red Ice Black Dragon, Def, 2000. Meteor Dragon, Def, 2000. Dodged a lethal strike? That was a sharp move. Kojakujaku nodded slightly. A lethal strike? Atticus said, confused. Ha, you'll see soon enough. 100 Dragon laughed. Battle. Dark Simorg attacked Gemknight Prismora. Duel Academy students, LP, 5300 5050. Then Divine Dragon Lord Felgrand attacks Red Ice Black Dragon. A burst of holy light erupted. The Black Dragon shattered. At this moment, Felgrand's effect activates. When this card destroys a monster by battle, I can special summon a level 7 or 8 dragon from either player's graveyard, except Felgrand itself. Serve the Mountain, Legendary Black Dragon activate Felgrand's effect and special summon Red Ice Black Dragon to my field. What? Atticus' eyes widened. Bathed in radiance, the Black Dragon appeared on the Guardian's field. The battle phase isn't over. Red Ice Black Dragon attacks Meteor Dragon. Inferno Fire Blast. Red Ice inhaled deeply, exhaling a scorching fireball that blasted its former partner. NNGH. Wah! A few of the little spirits were frightened. Yikes, Atticus muttered. I thought 100 Dragon was a gentle type, didn't expect this kind of brutality when he fights. Now he understood why they had called it a lethal strike. I set a card and end my turn. Having cleared the field, 100 Dragon exhaled a puff of dragon breath and gave Atticus a sharp look. Through this duel, he had come to understand Hikaru's beliefs and principles. If any of the young ones wished to leave with him, perhaps that wouldn't be so bad. But this human named Atticus. He glanced at the card he had just set. It was the counter trap, Barrel behind the door. A trap that could be activated when the opponent tries to deal effect damage. It would redirect that damage right back at them. If Atticus dared to use another card like Inferno Fire Blast, he was going to be in for a surprise. Elsewhere, Atticus began his turn. After drawing, he first checked the set card, then glanced at what Hikaru had set. Smiling, he laughed, "Ahaha, Hikaru, you set that kind of card? You really believe I can make use of it? If what you said before wasn't a lie, that pride and frustration were real, then I believe you can. Hahaha, as expected of a fusion duelist. You truly understand your partner. Then I won't hold back." Chapter 154, Final Turn, Bonds Forged in Flame. My turn. Atticus slid a spell card into his duel disc. I activate the normal spell, Cards of the Red Stone. According to this card's effect, I can discard a level 7 red ice monster to the graveyard, then draw 2 cards. I discard Red Ice Black Dragon and draw 2 cards. Once possessed by darkness, Atticus was arguably the person in the world who held the most black dragons. After that effect resolves, I can send another level 7 red ice monster from my deck to the graveyard. I send my last Red Ice Black Dragon. Activate Pot of Avarice. Return 5 monsters from my graveyard to the deck, then draw 2 cards. I return 2 Red Ice Black Dragons, Black Dragon's Chick, Meteor Dragon, and Gem Knight Prismora. Draw 2. Why draw so many cards? Kujaku readied his defense. Probably fishing for something more important. 100 Dragon guessed. Kujaku eyed his set card and nodded inwardly. If that guy dares to use Inferno Fire Blast again, he'll regret it. Then, activate set card. Red Ice Fusion. He flipped over the spell card Hikaru had left him. It's a fusion spell. A real fusion card. Wow! A chorus of spirits chirped excitedly. Red Ice Fusion? 100 Dragon looked at the card. Sounds like a fusion spell just for black dragons. Do you have a Red Ice Fusion monster too? Kujaku glanced at Hikaru's extra deck. The extra decks aren't shared. In a tag duel, once the fusion user brought back the materials using diffusion, the fusion monster went back to the extra deck, right? Ahaha, Atticus laughed as always, brushing his hair aside. Don't judge me by my looks, I care deeply for my juniors. Before coming here, I prepared my deck carefully. He smiled. Red Ice Fusion is a dedicated fusion spell for Red Ice. During the turn I activate this card, I can't summon or special summon no longer by any other effect. That's a harsh restriction. That bad? Now for Red Ice Fusion's effect. I send monsters listed as fusion materials from my hand, field, or deck to the graveyard to fusion summon a monster that lists Red Ice as material. I send Summon Skull and Red Ice Black Dragon from my deck to the graveyard to fusion summon Black Skull Dragon. The creature that appeared was a massive black dragon formed from blood and bone. Black Skull Dragon, level 90 RK Dragon 3200 ATK. You have summoned Skull too, Senpai? Atticus tapped his temple with a chuckle. Got it during an expedition with Zane. Didn't think I'd use it, though. He turned and continued explaining. A monster fusion summoned with Red Ice Fusion is treated as Red Ice Black Dragon in name. Red Ice Black Dragon? Kujaku glared at him. Which means he can use Inferno Fire Blast too. 100 Dragon nodded. If you have it right now, we lose. Gonna play it? Their LP was just 2400. If he activates Inferno Fire Blast now and it resolves, they're done. No, Atticus wagged his finger. As your senpai, how could I steal victory from such a cute kohai during his big moment? Activate spell card. He grinned. Offerings to the doomed. Target one face-up monster on the field. Destroy it. Skip my next draw phase. What? Are you crazy? Your next draw phase belongs to your teammate. In a tag duel, your next draw phase refers to your teammate's turn. To them, it looked like Atticus was sabotaging the team. He said nothing. He activated the spell and shouted, "Destroy, Dark Simorg." The Dark Bird Beast was wiped from the field. Then, battle. Black Skull Dragon, attack Divine Dragon Lord Felgrand. The Dark Dragon, fused from demon and dragon power, swung its massive claws at the Radiant Dragon. However, Felgrand couldn't absorb the light this time and fell behind in the clash, ultimately shattering. Guardians of the Mountain, LP, 2400-2000. Now, only Red Ice Black Dragon remains on your field. I set one card and end my turn. Hikaru glanced at the card he set. His pupils shrank. That card? He shot a look at Atticus, who flashed a gleaming smile and gave him a big thumbs up. Still resisting? Don't you humans have any shame? Wasting your partner's draw phase like that? Shame. Atticus held his final card. Some nearby spirits saw it, Inferno Fire Blast. They exchanged glances, not understanding his play. He gently wiped the card and said, "Come on now, no need to get so fired up." Then he snapped his head up at Kujakujaku. "You think you're the only ones who care that much?" Question mark. Once, I was consumed by darkness. Brainwashed, turned into a shadow duelist, made to attack students and steal keys. The two opponents fell silent. I'm not saying woe is me. That doesn't matter, what matters is, the one who beat me and pulled me out of it was the duelist beside me now, Amaji Hikaru. He extended his hand toward Hikaru. Ha? Wah? The surrounding spirits looked confused. That power left an unerasable mark on me. Even now, no matter what deck I use, it transforms into this burning black dragon form in a duel. Though this deck was far stronger than his original, he still wished he could use that old fabulous stage deck full of fun. Until today. He focused on the Black Skull Dragon. Until today. That really happened? Hikaru cast a glance at Atticus's deck. No wonder he hadn't dueled much after that. In canon, he had such fun with Chaz and the others. Don't think you're the only ones protecting the young. The playful grin vanished from Atticus's face. He turned solemn and sincere. If my Kohai wants to prove himself, if he's searching for spirits who recognize him, then as his senpai, I'll support him till the end. I never specialized in fusion. I'm not into club activities either. But if it helps him, I'll back these adorable juniors. That's who I am. Your turn, Kujakujaku. Show us your resolve. Kujakujaku was stunned, then startled as his name was called. Spirits began whispering and murmuring among themselves. He might be intense, but maybe we can't blame him? And honestly, he's kinda cool. Humph, this human isn't half bad. Even Tiara gave a rare nod. After a moment, Kujakujaku stared at Atticus and finally understood why he disliked him from the start. Mutual repulsion. Warriors from another world, I underestimated you. Still, we won't lose that easily. Draw quick play spell, order to charge. This isn't some wasteful spell like skipping a draw phase. I tribute a normal monster on my field to destroy one of your monsters. I tribute Red Ice Black Dragon and destroy your Black Skull Dragon. Flames erupted from the two dragons, the primal one roaring and charging. The field was wiped clean again. But we're not done. Dark Simorg never dies. Like us Guardians, it will never fall. I banish Black Dragon Collapserpent and myself Kujakujaku from my hand to revive it from the graveyard. Dark Simorg. Even in death 3 times, the divine bird returns. Attack. Dark Simorg, direct attack. Atticus shielded himself from the incoming feathers. Duel Academy Students LP, 5300-2600. End of turn. He faced Hikaru. Well, Hikaru the Fusionist, with no draw phase, and only your leftover spells, can you survive this turn? Survive? Hikaru shook his head. No. We settle this turn. Final turn. Chapter 155, The Evolutionary Thunder Dragon. Final turn? Even Thunder Dragon Lord, who was acting as referee, couldn't help but voice his doubt. It was an obvious fact. Final turn? You have only one card in hand. You already used your fusion card to save your teammate, and even the fusion materials in your graveyard were recycled by your partner. Kujakujaku grew more incredulous as he went on. Not only that, even your ace monster, Gem Knight Prismora, was returned to Atticus's extra deck. What can you possibly do now? 100 Dragon added. And you can't even draw a card. Faced with these one-sided facts, Hikaru showed no fear. Does it matter? It doesn't matter, both guardians shouted. Kojaku flared his feathers. If you could end the duel this turn, then why didn't you do it last turn? No fusion in your hand can turn this field around. A group of spirits clustered around Hikaru, echoing, yeah. Too naive. Fusion has no limits. If Senpai entrusted this key moment to me, then we will win. Hikaru shouted, if it's fusion, even this field is more than enough. No, a chorus of spirits shook their heads. That has nothing to do with fusion. Suddenly, Tiara noticed a sneaky little golden orb. She raised a hand and snapped her fingers. The great demon beneath Hikaru shifted slightly, causing him to lean just a bit. The thunder orb, seeing its chance, zipped forward and slammed into Hikaru. Koyuan. Several elder spirits spotted it. That playful, curious spirit who had long gone unnoticed, one of the oldest, and one most likely to grow, was now hurtling toward Hikaru with all its might. The golden thunderball struck him. Hikaru's eyes shot down, meeting the glow of lightning in his deck. Thunder Dragon Lord slowly raised his head. A fusionist pursuing the ultimate? Maybe he was the one they'd all been waiting for to change the world. I activate my set card. Electricity surged in Hikaru's eyes. Normal spell. Pot of Greed. Pot of Greed. What? Pot of Greed? No way, he was right. The card Atticus had set, one recognized by countless duelists, was indeed Pot of Greed. A card that lets you draw 2 for free, that human didn't use it on his turn but saved it for his teammate. If he draws anything useful, it's a guaranteed win. The Guardian's eyes widened. They never imagined that this was what Atticus had left behind. Frankly, Hikaru hadn't expected it either. Even so, it happened. It was his first time playing Pot of Greed in this world. Back home, it was forbidden, but here, a card banned for being too powerful could actually be used. He was thrilled. Like a TCG player getting to activate Maxi in Master Duel for the first time, bliss. Pot of Greed's effect, draw 2 cards. He yanked 2 cards from the deck, glanced down, and froze. The lightning-charged card, wasn't it Thunder Dragon Matrix? Could it be? He side-eyed toward Tiara, who tilted her head as if she hadn't done a thing. He sighed, gazed again at the card, and the cheering image on it. He understood what had happened. It had chosen to follow him beyond the mountain. Alright, then I activate the effect of Thunder Dragon Fusion in the graveyard. Banish this card that wasn't sent to the graveyard this turn to add 1 Thunder monster from the deck to hand. I add Thunder Dragon from the deck. He grabbed Thunder Dragon from his deck. Then revealed a card in hand. Next, I normal summon Thunder Dragon Matrix. A small golden orb of lightning materialized on Hikaru's field. Spirits around him gasped. Koyuan. Why are you over there? Several elder spirits looked flustered. No need to panic, Thunder Dragon Lord rumbled across the skies. It has made its choice. Then, I discard Thunder Dragon from my hand to activate its effect, add up to 2 more Thunder Dragons from the deck to hand. I add the other 2 Thunder Dragons to hand. Next, spell card, Polymerization. The purest form of fusion. He's using classic polymerization? Going for twin-headed Thunder Dragon? 100 Dragon flapped his wings. But even twin-headed Thunder Dragon can't defeat us this turn. After all, its ATK is 2800, while Dark Simorg has 2700. And they still had 2000 LP. Hikaru didn't seem to care. He pressed on. I fused 2 Thunder Dragons from my hand. Fusion materials, 2 Thunder Dragons. Fusion summon. Level 7, Twin-Headed Thunder Dragon. The classic double-headed dragon, crackling with lightning, stormed onto Hikaru's field. Twin-headed Thunder Dragon, level 7 Light Thunder 2800 ATK. Still not enough, right? Kojakujaku shook his head and raised his claw. You'd be better off keeping Koyuin in hand to boost your thunder monsters. Yeah, 100 Dragon exhaled. Hikaru looked at the refusion in his hand, and didn't activate it. Instead, he pointed to the field. It's time. Let everyone witness the moment of fusion evolution. Ha? He hasn't fused anything yet? And how would Koyuin in Twin-Headed Thunder Dragon even fuse? Before they could react, Thunder Dragon Matrix crackled with light. The orb shifted, grew, its serpentine form expanding, swelling. Suddenly, with a crack, the orb split open. A small Thunder Dragon emerged, then grew and darkened. Crackling lightning erupted. Wings unfurled. A Thunder Dragon, unlike any they'd seen, took form. What is that? Koyuin evolved? If a Thunder Monster's effect is activated in the hand, and you tribute a Thunder Monster other than a fusion monster on your field, you can special summon this from the extra deck. Bear witness. The birth of a new fusion. This is a step beyond fusion. Descend between heaven and earth. Thunder Dragon Colossus. The tiny black dragon let out a proud, if babyish, cry. Though now a fusion monster with a fierce form, it remained adorably small. Thunder Dragon Colossus, level 8 DRK Thunder 2600 ATK. Koyuin evolved, 100 dragons stared blankly. A completely new Thunder Dragon? Kojakujaku's beak nearly dropped. A brand new monster born from the bond between duelists in a tag duel. Battle. Twin-Headed Thunder Dragon, attack Dark Simorg. Guardians of the Mountain, LP, 2000-1900. Next. Thunder Dragon Colossus's direct attack. The little black dragon flew up to the two older brothers, spat lightning at them. Though it didn't hurt, they exaggerated their reactions and cried out dramatically, falling backward. Guardians of the Mountain, LP, 1900. Victory, the human duelist. Thunder Dragon Lord raised his head, releasing a burst of lightning that surged across the mountain, forming lightning patterns in the sky like celebratory fireworks. A spectacular duel indeed. Chapter 156, Thunder Dragon Colossus's card. Wow! We really won! That was amazing! With the duel over, both the spirits who had participated and those who had been watching set aside their hostility. A horde of tiny spirits gathered around Hikaru and Atticus, swarming them into a bundle, parading and celebrating atop Thunder Dragonlord's massive body. Hikaru basked in a hero's welcome. Thanks to the duel, even Garuda and Tiara received enthusiastic greetings from the spirits. Still, Tiara had no interest in these young mortal beings and vanished into thin air the moment they approached, leaving only the Permise carrying Hikaru to keep him from falling. Unlike the reserved Hikaru, Atticus fully embraced it, acting like a king of kids. With his teacher-like charisma, superb singing voice, and top-notch instrument skills, he brought joy to the spirits through extreme play and melody alike. Humans and spirits played together until sunset. At last, Hikaru flopped onto Thunder Dragonlord's back, gazing upward as he drew a card from his deck. Thunder Dragon Colossus. A truly powerful card. Not only did it have an easy summoning condition, but its stats and effect were worth celebrating. With 2600 ATK, it outmuscled ace cards like Gemknight Crystal, Dark Magician, Elemental Hero Neos, Stardust Dragon, and number 39, Utopia. And if it's destroyed by battle or effect, you can banish a Thunder monster from the graveyard to keep it on the field. And that was only its freebie effect. Its real strength, the one it was famous for, was this: as long as this card is on the field, your opponent can't add cards from their deck to hand except by drawing. An effect that made many decks groan. Combined with the hard-won El Shaddol Winda from earlier, Hikaru could have stood his ground even in his pre-crossing meta. Many decks going second would curse under their breath seeing both those cards on board. One locks special summons, the other blocks search effects. Just having them on field could make even a removal-heavy archetype like Tenyi Dragon shake its head. Even so, that was in Hikaru's old world. Whatever the card, before considering its power, one had to consider the meta. In Hikaru's world, these effects were toxic beyond belief. Though here, they're simply pretty strong. Just like how TCG environments lack many OCG broken cards, not because they're weak, but because some simply don't exist. Like Max C. While OCG was busy printing weird birds to counter Max C's roots, TCG had already offered its answer: ban it outright. And because TCG doesn't have Max C, combo deck components were heavily curtailed, leading to completely different styles and strategies. Take Hikaru's beloved Dragon Link. In OCG, it commonly used Guardragon combos through World Legacy Guardragon and Halqifibrax for huge fields. In TCG, players often just used lower-level monsters to link summon Guardragon Peasty straight to the extra monster zone and started swinging. Different metas gave cards different values. In this world, with Pot of Greed and Graceful Charity, where most card flow came from raw draw rather than search, the locking effect of Thunder Dragon Colossus wasn't that useful. Likewise, Winda's powerful summon lock effect saw limited play here. People saw her 2200 ATK and simply considered beating over her. Few even did enough special summons for her lock to matter. But, unlike Winda, Thunder Dragon Colossus had high ATK and solid resistances. Even if its lockdown wasn't as effective here, for Hikaru, it was still something to celebrate. Because this was, in every sense, a true, powerful, all-purpose fusion end boss. As long as he gathered some Thunder monsters, he could bring it out from the extra deck at any time. Even just one Thunder Dragon in hand was enough to make it work. And that made it incredibly useful. As Hikaru pondered, the card in his hand began to crackle. The artwork on the card began to shimmer. He jumped up in surprise. Turning to look, he saw Thunder Dragon Colossus, exhausted from a full day's activity, curling up and beginning to shrink. The electricity around it condensed until it became a lightning orb. "No need to worry, human warrior," a voice full of dignity came. Hikaru looked up. Thunder Dragon Lord was speaking to him through lightning. Koyuin became interested in fusion. Catalyzed by your power, it transformed into a new Thunder Dragon. But even for one so close to evolution, fully becoming a new spirit takes time. Its tiny post-evolution form proves it. Hikaru nodded softly. "Human, you're an alchemist, aren't you?" Thunder Dragon Lord mused. Hikaru nodded again. "Still just a student of alchemy." "I thought so." "Your powerful alchemy influenced Koyuin. Your spirit resonated with it, letting it evolve into a new Thunder Dragon." He cast a look at the sleeping Thunder Dragon Colossus and then turned back. "Then, human. I entrust Koyuin, no, Thunder Dragon Colossus to you." He gently raised his head, releasing a soft electric spark that turned Colossus back into a card and returned it to Hikaru. Afterward, withdrawing his massive head, Thunder Dragon Lord stirred. It felt like the earth itself was shaking. He was rising. "Well said." Tiara reappeared beside Hikaru, still controlling the permise, glancing at the card in his hand. "Duels generate intense energy. That energy can disperse into the world, become something real, or even be emotion a vessel for someone's spirit. That spirit was always curious. At this perfect moment, drawn by your fiery passion for fusion and the influence of your alchemy, it found new purpose. This may be the first spirit you gain purely by your own strength and passion, without relying on that card. Quite commemorative. True." After hearing her summary, Hikaru gently brushed dust from the card. A new friend, forged purely by passion and the strength of a duelist. He soared through the sky atop Permise, feeling the wind again. Glancing sideways, he spotted a tiny armored bird playing cheerfully beside Atticus and smiled. Carefully, he stored away Thunder Dragon Colossus's card. It was still young, just beginning to choose its path. Regardless, it represented the future of fusion. To gather more partners and strength, to connect with others in mind and purpose, that was his new understanding of fusion. Chapter 157, The Story of the Famous Duelist and His Hero's Personality and Adventures. Jaden Yuki was a first-year student at Duel Academy, about to enter his second year. As a well-known student, he was infamous for skipping class, sleeping during lectures, sneaking into dorms, and wandering into restricted areas. To teachers, he was a delinquent and a problem child. Yet, as a duelist, the name Jaden Yuki was famous across not just the first-year class, but the entire academy. He was the only student considered comparable to Hikaru, and under most circumstances, he rarely lost a duel. In his match with Professor Banner, he nearly won and even exposed Banner's true identity, something even Zane Truesdale hadn't done. Occasionally, students from the Polymerization Club would try to pick on other Fusion Club members, and Jaden was often their target. Yet his heroes would always thrash them, sending them running with their tails between their legs. And when that happened, Jaden would flash his usual exaggerated grin and say, "That was a fun duel." To the Fusion Club's rivals, Jaden saying it was fun was 10 times more terrifying than Hikaru's scowl or sharp tongue. And it was the same Jaden who, today, found himself in trouble. As Hikaru and the others were preparing to return to the human world, Jaden was supporting someone and slowly making his way toward the portal. "Hang in there, Bastion." "Sorry, Jaden. I didn't expect that spirit to go berserk," Bastion said grimly. "It even broke our emergency teleporter." Blood still dripped from Bastion's forehead, a wound from the sudden spirit attack. "Also, I'm not actually that hurt." "Don't say that. That attack was meant for me, wasn't it? If not for you, I'd be the one bleeding." Jaden cut him off, pained. "Apologies, Jaden. I failed to block it," Avian said, bowing his head. "Jaden, it was my negligence. I promise I'll be more vigilant next time." Captain Gold added, floating beside him. Burstinatrix and Bubbleman also voiced their regrets, clearly disappointed with their earlier inaction and ashamed they hadn't protected Jaden, letting a friend take the hit instead. To the heroes, failing to protect Jaden was already a sin. Letting his friend get hurt in his place? Unforgivable. "It's okay, Captain," Jaden managed a strained smile. The duel was over. Who knew a spirit would go berserk? This dimension Jaden had come to was a broken one. He had heard Bubbleman might be here, so he came to find his partner. The Fusion Club had near complete control of the Academy's dimensional gates, and since he hadn't joined Hikaru on his trip to the mountain, Jaden didn't want to waste the chance and invited Bastion on an expedition. Everything had gone smoothly. After finding Avian, Captain Gold, and most recently Burstinatrix, Jaden finally reunited with his most used hero, Bubbleman. Right then, after the duel ended, as they were happily chatting with spirits, one suddenly snapped and attacked. No one, not even the other spirits, had seen it coming. Jaden himself was caught off guard. If Bastion hadn't reacted in time, Jaden might have taken a blow straight to the chest. He knew it was an accident. Still smiling, he comforted Bastion and the heroes as he helped his friend walk. Captain Gold tried to take over carrying Bastion, but the moment he reached out, he saw the terrifying resolve in Jaden's eyes. He retracted his hand, allowing Jaden to keep holding Bastion. Jaden had grown up without friends. He'd lived alone since childhood. For some unknown reason, everyone who got close to him ended up mysteriously injured, some even fell into comas. Over time, other kids avoided him, and Jaden distanced himself in turn. With no friends, he started playing with cards by himself, even designing his own. Still a child, he fell in love with duels and monsters, especially heroes. Because they were cool. Because they were reliable. He treated his cards as friends. He dreamed of becoming a hero one day. One day, Kaiba Corp held a major event. Only the most beloved or successful child would have their dreams sent to another dimension as a goodwill gesture from humanity to the spirits. That day, Jaden excitedly sent in his homemade cards and dreams of the future. He packed all his hopes and his deck into that submission. And he was actually chosen. He became the luckiest kid in the world. After that, the misfortune that had always clung to him seemed to vanish. No one around him was mysteriously injured ever again. He was the luckiest. He repeated that to himself. As long as he believed, he always drew what he needed. Before Duel Academy, he had no real friends. But once there, he gained Cyrus, Chumley, Chaz, Bastion, Hikaru, Zane, Atticus, and Alexis. he and Hikaru founded the Fusion Club together. It was fun, and it meant he could duel with Zane every day. More importantly, the Fusion Club let them fight back against the arrogant Polymerization Club, letting them play the part of heroes. That was his good fortune. Even so, that journey was also laced with pain. He clenched his teeth, golden light flickering in his eyes. Against the Shadow Riders, he learned the brutality of shadow games. The pain was real and overwhelming. After the duel with Banner, he realized his own resolve wavered. He hesitated too much. Members of the Polymerization Club always picked fights, only stopping after being properly humbled. Hikaru and Chaz were secretly plotting something, clearly trying to keep it from them, afraid they'd worry. Then there was Zane. That reminded him, no matter how much fun they had in the Fusion Club, one day they'd part ways. Like Zane, who would graduate. But what about other partings? Not just graduation. What about death? That spirit just now. It wasn't a mistake. He saw it. Right before the spirit went berserk, it glowed with blinding white light. Smiling, he helped Bastion reach the dimensional gate. After glancing around, he chose to leave this world. Still smiling, a smile that was no longer the pure one from before. And as he left, he thought he heard a faint, ethereal voice ripple through the world. Jaden, wait for me. I will find you. Chapter 158, In the Hospital. Bastion got hurt? Having just returned from the world of the mountain, Hikaru and Atticus had been looking forward to sharing their new experiences with their friends, only to find the clubroom nearly empty, with just a couple of students waiting for them. Yes, Sensei. I heard that during an interdimensional exploration, he was attacked by a spirit and hit his forehead. Selena pointed at her own forehead. Everyone else went to see them. I stayed behind to wait for you. Hikaru and Atticus exchanged glances. Without another word, they quickly followed their two classmates to the school infirmary. One room in the infirmary was completely crowded, with a mass of students squeezing in and asking about Bastion's condition. On one hand, they were genuinely concerned. On the other, this was the first reported interdimensional bloodshed incident of the year. While they hadn't had the chance to visit other dimensions yet, they knew such expeditions would be part of the second-year curriculum, so naturally they were eager to know what had happened. Among the crowd, Hikaru even spotted a few non-Fusion Club students joining the commotion. All right, what are you all doing? You're crowding the room and disturbing his rest. Get out, and if you want the details, wait until he's discharged, or nominate a representative. Professor Sartor shouted after taking a deep breath. The students, though not malicious, didn't dare disobey and gradually dispersed, leaving only those in close contact with Bastion, Hikaru and his group. Hikaru waved goodbye to the departing clubmates and stepped into the room to check on Bastion. Overall, Bastion didn't seem too bad. His complexion looked healthy. The forehead injury had been treated with bandages, likely stitched up by the school nurse. He sat upright in bed, under a blanket, looking a little awkward. Beside him, Alexis was peeling an apple while Chaz raised a hand, deep in conversation with Jaden. Hikaru, brother, you're here? Alexis was the first to notice them. She finished slicing the apple, placed it neatly on a plate with a fork, and looked up at them. Her voice drew the attention of everyone else in the room. She stood and jogged over to Atticus, scanning him briefly. You didn't run into anything dangerous, did you? She was obviously worried about her brother. After all, he had only recently returned from the missing persons list and hadn't even been back for a full year. Now that Bastion had been injured, she couldn't help but worry about Atticus too. Alexis, you wouldn't believe it. In the mountain, we were sky-chasing birds and dragons. If luck hadn't been on our side, we could have fallen straight from the sky. What? At least we could have landed on Thunder Dragonlord's nice, meaty cushion. Hikaru, kind of a shame, huh? We missed that chance. Next time, we might get a different guardian. He tilted his head jokingly. Brother! Alexis smacked him in the waist. Ow. Ow, Alexis. Atticus groaned, milking the moment. The others, now assured of the duo's safety, visibly relaxed. So what happened? Hikaru asked. Before Jaden could explain, Bastion said, "We don't know. After our duel with the spirits ended, one of them just snapped. It went berserk and charged at Jaden. I got hurt trying to shield him." Jaden looked unusually dejected. How could that happen? Hikaru tilted his head. He could see elemental hero Captain Gold, Avian, Burstinatrix, and Bubbleman standing in the room, all looking gloomy. Winged Kuribo clung to Jaden's side, trying to comfort him. His words weren't just a question to them, but genuine disbelief. With them around, how could he possibly get hurt? At the time that spirit suddenly launched an attack, Captain Gold spoke up. I was immersed in the joy of reunion with my comrade and let my guard down. That lapse allowed it to go berserk, and Bastion was injured. Hikaru withdrew his gaze. Could that really happen? These were heroes, after all. Say what you will, protecting others was what they excelled at. Even if they were distracted, it shouldn't have been that easy to slip past them. He turned to Chaz. Chaz thought for a moment. I personally think there were some irregularities. He rubbed his chin and muttered. Jaden said he saw a flash of white light at that moment. Said the spirit didn't look the same as it had before. I suspect it might be something from the spirit world. A flash of white light? Hikaru blinked. Jaden, are you sure you weren't seeing things? I'm not really sure. Jaden cradled his head, full of regret. My mind went blank. I was too nervous. I honestly don't remember clearly. And afterward, the spirit was taken away by local spirits. I didn't see it again. Oh, and as we left that dimension, I think I heard something strange. But when I asked Bastion, he said he didn't hear anything. You heard something? Chaz immediately scowled, grabbing Jaden by the head. Why didn't you say so earlier? Use that brain you never use. But Bastion said he didn't hear it. So what did you hear exactly? I don't know. Just a voice. Sounded familiar. But I couldn't make it out. Jaden froze, ignoring Chaz's grip, his eyes unfocused. That's all. I see. Hikaru nodded. So it really was Yubel. A terrifying spirit linked to Jaden. One that hurt people around him and even influenced other spirits' minds. In the original timeline, that card spirit had always protected Jaden, lashing out indiscriminately at anyone who made him sad, Yubel. In canon, Jaden launched it into space using a Kaiba Corp rocket. However, in this world, he never did that. Instead, he sent his cards and original drawings drifting through an interdimensional gate. It seemed that the divergence in events had led to Jaden encountering spirits influenced by Yubel during his travels. And Yubel's appearance had likely been moved up. This was bad. What state was Yubel in now? But if the orb of light had appeared, it must already be fused with the light of destruction. Hikaru looked out the window at the massive Polymerization Club headquarters and sighed. What a perilous world. Even worse, based on the curriculum, second-year students, even ordinary ones, would begin interdimensional internships. That was even more dangerous than canon. Yubel would indiscriminately harm everyone around Jaden just to monopolize his love. Out loud, he tried to lighten the mood. Uri, you should be grateful. Normally, you have zero presence, and now suddenly, you're the center of attention. Congrats. Hey. Bastion rolled his eyes. I'm injured, you know. Admit it, you're secretly enjoying this. Wha? He actually started thinking about it. Which made Hikaru lose composure a little. In the original story, didn't Bastion give up victory and join the Society of Light because of something similar? Bastion, don't think too hard. I was just joking. Ha? Oh, ha ha ha. I was only pretending to think. Chapter 159, Promotion Period. The incident where someone was injured during interdimensional travel wasn't discussed for long among the students at the academy. Most treated it as a minor episode, talked about it for a few days, then simply moved on. After all, interdimensional travel had always carried risks. Everyone knew that. It's just that no one had been hurt before. Besides, even during Chaz's live-streamed duel, the spirits had bombarded him with artillery fire. It was par for the course. But for Hikaru, he couldn't let it go. The appearance of Aster Phoenix, the first manifestation of the light of destruction, this looming threat that was soon to emerge before the world, and before him, was something he had to consider carefully. So, on top of handling the curious Thunder Dragon who kept running around, he also had to continue his alchemy studies and carefully plan for what came next. "You really are dedicated," Bastion said. His injuries weren't serious, and after a few days in confirmation from the teachers that he was fine, he returned to class. Today, as he came back to the classroom during a self-study period, he once again saw Hikaru's desk covered in books and notes and couldn't help but comment. Even though Hikaru was already top of the grade in both academics and dueling, he still worked this hard. Not to mention running the Fusion Club and studying the alchemy Professor Banner left behind. It truly left Bastion in awe. After all, he didn't have to study alchemy. And maybe that all was why he told himself he absolutely couldn't lose to Hikaru again, at least not this time. At least when it came to academics, he had to beat Hikaru. Then he looked to the side and saw Chaz Princeton pulling at his hair, trying to calculate all sorts of things, including contracts from multiple companies. Looks like Chaz wouldn't have time to meddle in their battle this time. Even though Chaz had only beaten him once, that time when he had a heartbreak, it was still a lingering pressure. With final upgrade exams coming up, he couldn't let himself fall behind again. Compared to the high-achieving trio busy with academics, business plans, and alchemy, Jaden, Cyrus, and Chumley had it much easier. Jaden had just woken up groggy from another long nap, and Cyrus was about the same. Only Chumley was surprisingly serious today, writing something down diligently. Jaden rubbed his eyes, looked at Chumley's activity, and asked in surprise, "Chumley, what are you doing?" Chumley smiled and said, "It's an employment form." Employment form. Jaden nearly fell off his chair. He stared at Chumley. What company? He couldn't believe it. They were all still prepping for finals, and Chumley was already applying for a job. Industrial Illusions. Industrial Illusions. Gasps echoed around them. A bunch of classmates turned stiffly toward him, then immediately rushed over. Wait, Chumley, Industrial Illusions? The actual Industrial Illusions. Why yeah. The one with President Pegasus. Chumley, you actually got acknowledged by that company. Is it true, Chumley? Chumley, we're good friends, right? Can you maybe boost a few cards in my deck? Please, I'm begging you, this is a once-in-a-lifetime favor. A crowd swarmed around him. Hikaru looked up briefly, noted the situation, yet had no particular interest. He returned to his writing and calculations. He was currently tackling an extremely difficult alchemy challenge, trying to build a portal that consumed less energy. To do that, he had to rewrite the blueprint left by Professor Banner for the dimensional gate. That said, for a beginner, even the so-called idiot-proof interdimensional teleportation gate was actually the most optimized, safest, and most stable version. Rewriting it was anything but easy. Chumley getting into Industrial Illusions was something that happened in the original series, too. Later, he even designed a card for Jaden called Skyscraper 2 Hero City, a true bro move. Bro, I printed a card just for you. However, Hikaru remembered. In canon, Chumley had designed a card called Ayers Rock Sunrise, which impressed Pegasus. If he passed the finals, he would get a chance to work at Industrial Illusions. But, at that time, Professor Growler reminded the principal that Chumley had been a repeater, a student who once gave up on dueling. So his demand was, Chumley had to score high enough on the upgrade exam the next day, while Growler himself would act as examiner. No holding back. In the end, even though Chumley fused his self-designed Ayers Rock Sunrise to summon the 4200 attack Master of Oz and aimed to defeat the ancient Gear Golem, he failed due to Growler's limiter removal. Still, Growler acknowledged his growth, recognized he was no longer the lazy, hopeless student, and personally wrote a recommendation letter for Industrial Illusions. He even told him he was his proudest student. This proved that Professor Growler actually understood every student very well, even those who barely attended class or used to sleep away their days in the dorm, like Chumley. In this world, too, Hikaru recalled. During one of the Academy's exchange events, Industrial Illusions staff had indeed visited. It was probably then that Chumley earned Pegasus's recognition. Different path, same destination. So Chumley is leaving school soon? Cyrus asked, a bit reluctant. At times like this, you just gotta look forward, Jaden said cheerfully, on reflex. But the moment he said that, a sharp look entered his eyes. Suddenly, his demeanor changed. He rushed to pull out a bunch of miscellaneous items and finally found the application form he had submitted to Professor Growler half a month ago. That's right. Besides Chumley, there was someone else who would soon part ways with them. The Academy's strongest duelist. The pride of the school. The one he had once lost to the upperclassmen, he saw as an older brother. Zane Truesdale. Before he became a professional duelist, they had to give him the best graduation send-off. Chapter 160, Graduation Duel. 1,000 points. Professor Growler stood before the score screen, his hands clasped in excitement as he gazed at the name and score of the top-ranking student. As expected of Kaiser. A perfect score. Hooah! The students chattered excitedly as they stared at the leaderboard. In his third year at Duel Academy, Zane concluded his perfect academic life with a flawless score in the graduation exam. Based on this result, Professor Growler solemnly informed Zane that he would represent the students in the graduation duel and showcase his skills. Of course, the opponent would be of his own choosing. And naturally, there could only be one result. Jaden Yuki. Several days later. Why didn't I surpass Hikaru again? Because you were too focused on the written exam, Chaz said casually from behind, arms crossed. You used a different deck than usual, so you messed up in the promotion duel and didn't get a perfect score. Isn't that obvious? No, at the very least, Bastion did beat me on the written part, Hikaru said, glancing at his report card with a cold sweat. Just a little more, seriously just a little more, and his first place ranking would have been taken by Bastion. Fortunately, he scored a perfect mark in the duel portion again, otherwise, things might have gotten tricky. As the three discussed their grades, Cyrus nervously watched the field. In the school duel arena, Jaden and Zane were already making their preparations for the final graduation duel. Why? He recalled the scene from a few days ago, when Zane had suddenly walked into their dorm and smilingly declared that he wanted to duel Jaden in the graduation match. Why what? Chaz asked offhandedly. Shouldn't a graduation duel be first versus first? Why did he choose Jaden instead? Whoosh. Just as he asked that, a figure crawled out from under the table, startling the surrounding students and prompting Alexis to give a helpless expression. A classic versus a free spirit. A tactician versus a feeler. Atticus stood up, arms folded, striking a pose that left everyone around speechless before continuing. Those two are completely opposite duelists. I see, Chaz mused. If the axes were classic versus academy style, the most academic, most tactical would obviously be Kaiser. And the one who relies most on instinct and personal style is clearly Jaden. In contrast, while Hikaru is also unique, his dueling is firmly within traditional bounds. So, in a situation where their skills are close, choosing Jaden and witnessing his growth means more to Zane, Alexis muttered. By now, both duelists had completed their preparations. Hikaru also closed his book and looked up at the stage earnestly. What would this classic matchup from the canon look like in this world? Duel. My turn. Zane swiftly drew a card. I activate the spell card, Different Dimension Capsule. This lets me banish one card from my deck face down. On my second standby phase after activation, this card is destroyed, and the banished card is added to my hand. The original version of Different Dimension Capsule. Hikaru noticed the difference from his own memory, but wasn't surprised since the effect didn't differ. I banish one card from my deck face down. One card from the deck. Could it be Power Bond? Their friends began to speculate. Next, I normal summon Cyber Dragon Dre. A mechanical dragon adorned in golden lines appeared on his field. Cyber Dragon Dre, level 4 Light Machine 1800 ATK. While Cyber Dragon Dre is on the field, its name becomes Cyber Dragon. I set one card and end my turn. Just one set card. Jaden eyed the facedown card. Could it be Cybernetic Revolution? My turn. The onlookers swallowed their saliva in anticipation. How would Jaden duel? I normal summon Elemental Hero Bubbleman. He quickly placed a monster on the field. Wow! Hikaru raised his eyebrow. Bubbleman, Jaden's exclusive card. A hero resembling Batman, with a water gun attached to his right hand, appeared. Elemental Hero Bubbleman, level 4 Water Warrior 800 ATK. When Elemental Hero Bubbleman is summoned and I control no other cards, I can draw 2 cards. This is Jaden's signature draw engine. Too strong. In the original, many cards were later updated to match their OCG effects, but Bubbleman remained an exception. Even with an OCG version, Anime Jaden could still draw freely with it. Truly an eternal support in his deck. Next, I activate the field spell, Fusion Gate. He slotted the card into the dual disc, and the field transformed, glowing with countless green lines that gave everything an illusory appearance. A fusion support card? He's using it now? Chaz said in surprise. This could help Kaiser summon Cyber and Dragon. But he's Jaden. He wouldn't think like that, Bastion said with a smile. I fused the Bubble Man on my field with Sparkman from my hand. Come forth, Elemental Hero the Shining. A radiant, white-clad hero made a grand entrance. Elemental Hero the Shining, level 8 Light Warrior 2600 ATK. The Shining's effect, its attack increases by 300 for each banished Elemental Hero card. Elemental Hero the Shining, ATK, 2600 3200. Battle. Go, the Shining. Attack Cyber Dragon. Jaden yelled excitedly. The hero bathed in sunlight leapt forward, charging at the mechanical dragon. Just then, Zane flipped his set card. Naive, Jaden. I activate the trap card Attack Reflector Unit. What? Jaden was shocked. It wasn't Cybernetic Revolution. I tribute one Cyber Dragon on my field to special summon Cyber Barrier Dragon from my hand or deck. Zane used a tactic Jaden had never seen before. Lights, lenses, and mechanical parts swarmed Cyber Dragon Dre, rapidly transforming it into a heavily armored mech dragon. Cyber Barrier Dragon, level 6 Light Machine 800 ATK. Ugh, keep attacking. Seeing it only had 800 attack, Jaden didn't hesitate. Zane said immediately, Cyber Barrier Dragon's effect, when it's in attack position, once per turn, it can negate an opponent's attack. Cyber Barrier Dragon raised its tail, reflecting the image of the Shining with its mirrors. The hero hesitated in confusion and abruptly halted its charge. As expected of Kaiser. Jaden shouted, pumped. Then, I end my turn. That wraps up this part of What If Fusion Deck User in a Different Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. Thanks so much for listening. As always, new parts drop every 4 days, so be sure to stay tuned. Also check out my Patreon channel for early releases of all the series, where you can find all the series released one day ahead of YouTube. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and please consider supporting the original author as well. See you in the next one.